What's up, peoples? Welcome to another edition of I'm Not Complaining, I'm Just Saying, where if you're going to complain, you better bring some solutions to the table. All right, today we got a special show, as always. But before we get into my guest as well as the topic of the show, I go into my little spiel. What the hell is Derek complaining about now? So, protecting the environment and the community are important not only to the natural habitat, but to those opposite, human beings like us. When trying to preserve the environment as well as allowing property owners the rights to their land, we need to be mindful of growth and economics. If any civilization is to survive past our lifetime, we have to generate revenue. We got to protect our natural resources and not infringe on the basic rights of our citizens, including owners' property rights. Farming, livestock, or whatever means used by owners to make a living on their land is their rights and should be protected and respected. Until we can truly get a grip on traffic and or environmental friendly concerns, we should practice smart growth. And in this county where I live at, Charles County, citizens need to be able to seek and either be for or against residential development as they see it. However, we have to be able to attract environmental friendly corporations that are not only focused on industry trends, but also focus on things such as aerospace, defense, automotive, commercial transportation, engineering, construction, and consumer packaging, as well as with government contractors living in the DMV or the DC area. So we can create jobs for Charles County. Oops, sorry, technical difficulties. But as citizens, we should be concerned with the growth and the environmental issues because they impact our present as well as our future. I understand that there's some citizens out there that are anti-growth and environment. There are some that are pro-growth and environment, and there's some that are like, I really don't care. I'm just here. We need to get the true facts from experts in the field versus a field of so-called experts. But you also need to be able to understand and empathize with residents who may have a opposing or an opposite view, or maybe have a favorable view. Simply put, we need to make sure that we keep the lobbyists and those special interest groups out of the picture that have absolutely nothing to do with Charles County, with the exception of they want to make money. Because if they want to make money and they don't care about protecting our environment, but also looking at ensuring that we have smart growth, that's where we're going to have issues. But remember, the environment controls us. We don't control the environment. They control us. So whatever we do, the environment's going to say, you know what, we're going to do what we're going to do, and you're going to have to deal with it. So that brings me to my special guest, who has been a very vocal and a very actionary figure in Charles County in regards to property rights and the environment of Charles County. So I want to welcome Jason Henry. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
And as I was telling the guests beforehand, there are, when we talk about not only the rights of citizens when it comes to their property, we also need to be mindful of the environment. And you live in Western Charles County. I've been out there a couple times. It's beautiful. It has some challenges, and it also has some perks. So how long have you been living in Charles County? And I guess, how did you end up here?
I have been in Charles County my entire life. My family history in Charles County dates back to the mid 1860s.
Wow. And, like, I've only been in Charles County since 2006. So you are coming not only with a wealth of history, but a heritage that most people don't have. I'm saying to trace it back to 1860s, it's
Yeah.
remarkable in itself. Um, what is the best thing about living in Western Charles County?
Um, Living in Western Charles County, it has its rural elements. Um, going up the 210 corridor, you can get into DC in 35, 45 minutes. But you still have the country atmosphere in some parts of the western side of the county.
Because myself, I live in, I guess they would call the big city, Waldorf. But when you really look at it, Waldorf is, I believe, the fifth or sixth largest city in the state of Maryland, with Baltimore City being the largest. I believe Columbia is the second. So we're somewhere in the top six, seven as the largest cities in the state of Maryland, which Waldorf, like other communities, have changed. What has changed in Western Charles County over the past 8 years?
A lot of businesses are leaving. The grocery stores. We have one grocery store now. We had two Safeway closed about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years. Safeway closed. A lot of other businesses are leaving. We had 5 banks on the western side of the county. Now we're down to just 2 banks. So um, the economic development in the western side of the county has died off.
And this was pre-COVID. Before COVID, it was going on decline.
Yes,
So
pre-COVID. Yes.
now, what are some things that you could probably attribute to that decline in Western Charles County over the past 8 years?
Um, I would contribute, I would say, majority of the issues to the county leadership. The previous board of commissioners, well, there were some commissioners who were um, extreme environmentalists, and they didn't want to see anything happening different or new in the county, especially on the western side of the county. The tech park that was supposed to bring high-end jobs, that was slated for Bryan's Road area, that was killed. Um, Chapman's Landing, that was maybe 15, 20 so years ago. That project was killed.
Now,
So
question, did that, because I had a discussion, I think, yesterday with someone in regards to MGM and I guess the western part of the county um, at some point in time was in the running for MGM. I don't
yes,
know if that was a government decision or just MGM decided to back out.
well, there was Chapman's Landing. The National Harbor was supposed to be at Chapman's Landing many years ago, when the idea was floated around, but it was killed. Um, and so, the county got nothing out of it. Now, I believe it's a butterfly sanctuary of over 200, 300 acres. Um, so the western side of the county has bear the brunt of a lot of decisions by county leadership that I don't think had the best interest of the residents on the western side of the county at heart. Um, it's just, it's not um, business friendly. So you have a lot of businesses that are leaving because they're not going to be successful. When you have a county that is a commuting county, you have challenges because you don't have that foot traffic. If a store decides to open up at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, you're going to have limited foot traffic because everybody has to leave the county for work. So you're not going to get that foot traffic until about 5 o'clock when people start coming in. But if you were to develop the county in a way to where you would have businesses, then you would have lunchtime traffic and different things. But um, unfortunately, Charles County is in a position where leadership has decided to go in a direction where people have to leave the county for work, like
Yeah,
myself.
yeah. And I know, with me being here since 2006, I've seen the county grow in some good ways, and I've seen it slowly grow. When I'm in a bad way, I mean by a bad way is that, you know, to me, Charles County has always been 10, 12 years behind the curve, the learning curve. And when you had mentioned, with businesses leaving, I remember, and it's still controversial as we speak, the WCD, which is the Water Conservation District. So how did that decision, I guess, worsen the possibility of economic development or just any type of financial stability in western part of the county?
Well, businesses they're going to do their studies. So, like people want high-end stores. A high-end store is not going to come to a location where the demographics um, are not high enough for them. And so, with the WCD, you limit the what can be billed. Now, you go from many parts of the western side of the county. It was 3 acres per one house. With the passage of the WCD, it took that from 3 acres per one house to 20 acres per
Wow.
one house.
And wow, because I guess I want people to imagine that, you know, obviously just think of your house and they're saying, okay, you can't do anything, say in your kitchen. You gotta leave your kitchen like it is. And then all of a sudden they say, you know what? You can't do anything on the first level or the second level. So I'm like, well, I can't do nothing to my house then. I
Well, I
can't,
mean,
yeah. And so when you look at property, it's literally saying that they can't even have the means to make a profit or to pass it on to anyone because of, I don't know why, but because they chose that.
yes, there were many different amendments and additions to the WCD, which a lot of people uh, still do not understand. Um, One of the additions was the impervious surface. They came up with a percentage of 8%.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense because if let's say you have 3 acres and you want your house in the middle of those 3 acres. Um, so let's say, depending on the size of the house that you build, it prevents you from paving your driveway, adding a deck, putting in a pool, or building a garage, or let's say a workshop.
And that's only in the WCD district.
Right, only in the WCD district.
And
They
what was the rationale behind that? I'm just curious. What was the rationale? Because
the,
we
the
we
rationale was given that they wanted to protect the waterways, but they have not done a study to see if the Mattawoman Creek or any of the waterways on the western side of the county have benefited from the previous um, legislation that was passed from the 80s. So you're saying that you're trying to protect, the water and the drinking supply, but you haven't done a study in over 20 years.
So what would you like to see currently done with the WCD as it stands? What would you like to see done?
I would like to see the WCD repealed, and I would like to see it replaced with the um, comp plan that was approved by the Charles County Planning Commission. And this is the comp plan before Commissioner Stewart and Commissioner Robinson added 25 additional amendments on top of the comp plan.
So they did this
They
with
did
the
this
public
with,
being
no,
accessible to the public. So basically, they pulled a slicky.
yes. So the night that they were voting on the passage of the comp plan, they added 25 amendments. And I have a copy of those amendments if anybody would like to see them, but they submitted them and voted and passed them that very night without
So
public hearing.
so as we look at the current administration, have they made any changes to the WCD or or and I guess there's only one that was from the previous administration, reverse their role, reverse their decision
No.
to, okay.
So the only thing that was done so far was a couple of studies have been done um, with the county employees um, leading up the study. Uh, Two developments were grandfathered in because they had started, I believe, before the WCD was passed, and then I think they stopped. So they were grandfathered in. Um, but other than that, there's um, no real progress in making any changes to the WCD, which is very disappointing because many of our current county commissioners campaign on repealing and replacing the WCD, but now um, nothing has been done. So it's
Yeah,
very
and I think that's one of the things where, it's not an election year for them, but it will be the following year. And you need to be held accountable. I'm saying that if you're against it, say why. If you're for it, say why. I can respect that. I may not agree, but I can respect it. And it's I see the impact that the WCD has on Waldorf. Now, I may not see it as greatly as we did before COVID, but anything that can't be done in western part of Charles County, they do in Waldorf.
yes,
And like I had mentioned before, we're the sixth or seventh, whatever it is, largest city in Charles County. One of
yeah,
my shows will be on whether or not Waldorf should be a municipality. Because the way I look at it, we're ATM for other things. So
yes,
that way the county can put their emphasis and focus on those areas because they won't have to really focus too much on Waldorf if we're a municipality. But that's like another story, another show for another day.
yeah.
So let's we'll be interested to see how that works out. So as we look at the WCD and we look at all the things that goes on within Charles County, there are a lot of social media groups out here. Um, uh, for the most part, a lot of them are informative, but they offer different types of information. You created one, Charles County Community Forum, which I'm one of the moderators, actually the only moderator, but you're administrator. Why did you really? What's the, I guess, the feeling and the pulse, and more or less your rationale for creating that forum?
Well, I created that form because I was administrator in another page, and I had a disagreement with the administrator because the page turned into more of a propaganda page. And um, I wanted to create a page and a form where information was shared about uh, Charles County, different things going on in Charles County. So that's why I created the Charles County Forum Facebook group.
And I don't call the pages out there, but I do recall at a time the page has evolved. It's not as, I guess, propagandish as it used to be. But what I like about Charles County Community Forum, we don't do national politics. That's one thing that you said, no national politics. And because there's a lot of other pages in your personal pages that can address that. And a lot of people have issue with it, but what I've seen when you bring in national politics, it brings out the best, the ugly, the violent, the trifling, the disrespectful, and a lot of people. Doesn't
Right.
necessarily do that in local politics, but in national politics, it does that. And I do know in that particular, Charles County Community Forum, we want everyone to be respectful. And
Right.
that, be honest with you, that's really what I like about the page. It's hard sometimes to monitor it, but people can agree to disagree. So what other things are you involved with in Western Charles County or Charles County as a whole? What are some other things?
Um, I'm involved with many organizations. I currently sit on the board for Hospice of Charles County. I'm involved with the local branch of the NAACP, the Black Caucus of Charles County. I'm also a basketball official like yourself. Um, I'm also involved on the political side with different political groups in the county. So I like to stay very active and in tune as to what is going on in the county.
And what to me that's always good. And I tell anybody if you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. Meaning that what are you doing? Social media is good, but if you're not out there talking, going to meetings, doing whatever, I even remember when I ran, I was blunt. I didn't know too much about WCD. I educated myself and you and somebody else telling me about it. But it I can't fight everything. Everyone has a certain thing that they fight, but I can support it. And I think that's commendable. I get my words out right. When you have a diverse um, list of things that you do in the community, and which brings me to, I guess, the question that you may want to answer, may not want to answer. Do you plan on running for office again? Because me and you actually met when years ago we both ran for the Board of Education, and then we both ran for commissioner. Now we both lost, but people think you lose, you lose. Doesn't mean that you stop. So, do you plan on running again for anything, or are you gonna keep it on hush hush?
I'm thinking about running again. Um, I'm thinking about running again. I haven't uh, decided. I'm leaning towards the Board of Education. Um, I'm involved with youth. One of the organizations I was involved with was the Maryland Boys and Girls Club. So I'm very active with youth. So I think um, I'll probably run for the Board of Education again.
All right. For me, I have no idea, so I don't know.
Well,
I'm
you know,
keeping guess. I'm
a
keeping
year,
guessing. I
year
don't know.
away, so.
I really don't know. I like the I don't know. So you actually mentioned basketball, and it's funny because I had rough basketball, been out of the game for a minute, and you actually got me back into it. But um, you know, outside of refereeing itself, I know, but what are some of the life lessons that you get or give from refereeing? And the reason I ask that because a lot of times people think we just go out there, whoop, blow the whistle, make our money, and we go out, and they don't really see the impact that sports and refereeing, plays in a child's life.
Well, I mean, I think some of the life impacts is decision making, judgment. You know, something's happening, you have to process it in your head, and you have to make the right decision. So plus you have to learn how to communicate with people, even, anytime you put air into a whistle, someone is not going to like the call. Someone is going to be unhappy. So you got to learn how to communicate with someone who may not be happy with the decision that you made, but you have to hear them. That you don't want them to be belligerent to you, but you hear them, and then they ask, why did you make that call? You say, well, this is what I saw, and you go from there. But it helps you to um, communicate with different people.
Yeah, because one of the things that I learned, and it was funny, I used to think, you know what, whether you're in an elected office or appointed office, you have to deal with the public. But being a referee, totally different because you have to deal with the public, but you have to have the ability to turn it on and turn it off. And we've been called every name in the book, been
Yep.
yelled at. You literally can be 2 feet away from somebody and they're breathing down your neck, calling you all kinds of names. As long as they ain't threatening you, they're saying you sorry, you need some glasses or you need some thicker glasses. The temperament that it takes to become, I don't think some people really realize that. And for me, I'm used to it because I used to coach. So, I coach college ball, I used to ref. But has there ever been a time when you ref, when you like, you know what? This game need to hurry up and end or I'm going to lose it. And you don't have to mention the school or anything like that. But has there been a time?
No, they used to call me TT, and that meant tech and toss back in the day. I have evolved since my early years of refereeing. So I think that you learn patience and you learn understanding. But no, and from someone who's been in the county their entire life, I know many of the coaches, and so we're fine before the game. They're unhappy with the calls. They may say something during the game, but after the game, we're back to being fine again, which is, I don't have a problem with that. It's about the game.
Yeah. And I think for me, that the first year was, I wouldn't say first year, but the first year back after being gone for so many years, I had to get used to the pace and the speed of the game because there's elementary, middle, high school, whatever. And but I enjoy it. With the current situation, I don't know when we're gonna get back into it, so I'm not gonna worry about it. But at
Right.
some point, we'll get back. So, um, hey, but I definitely appreciate you coming on the show. Is there anything else that you want to share before we close out?
No, I just want to thank you for having me on your show, and looking forward to the airing.
Okay. And once again, I want to thank Jason Henry, man of many hats with the Black Caucus of Charles County, the African American Democratic Club, I believe with the hospice, basketball referee. So um, we do more than just work, and we do more than just be on social media. So there's a lot of things that we do behind the scenes. Um, and we just do them because we do them. This is where we live at. I live in Charles County. I'm concerned with all Charles County, and I want to highlight Western Charles County because it's a lot of times people just forget that it exists. And I venture out there from time to time. One day I'll get out there and I'll smoke no cigars, but I'll get out there and shoot the breeze with Jason. But until then, definitely appreciate you coming on the show. And peace and blessings, my friend.
All right, you too. Thank you.
All right.